I've been taking LSD all my life, and I just think it's historic to have a conference in the UK for the first time celebrating these sort of incredible spiritual learning tools for mankind that have been suppressed for too long. So this is really, to me, a great step forwards to reintegrating these tools into our culture.
There was a debate about ecstasy or MDMA, and some of the people were saying that it's very, very dangerous for people. And I've worked in hostels for 20 years, and I've seen many, many people use it. And certainly in the early days, when the MDMA was pure, the amount of positive experiences that young people had far outweighed the negative ones, and did change people's lives, literally. So I think with all drug use, we have to weigh up the benefits against the harms. And I think for most people, the benefits do outweigh the harms. And you know, life is risky. Crossing the road's risky. Mountain climbing is risky. We don't stop people doing it. So why should we stop people using a drug of their choice if it's used responsibly?
When I was in the talk looking at the effects of psilocybin on the brain, and they were looking at the fact that your kind of egoic centres and your sense of time and place didn't get as much blood flow as when not on psilocybin, and that was what seemed to be responsible for that kind of expansive feeling, I guess, and the ego construct sort of falling away. And I think that's really interesting. I have a great interest in understanding the science of what's going on.
A new thing that I learned was about the idea of using ketamine for treatment of heroin addiction.
There was a talk by Luis Eduardo Luna talking, one interesting thing he mentioned is that when the Spaniards came to South America, they thought that the native people there didn't have souls, but the native people there thought they didn't have bodies, because their perception of the body is very different to our own. That was just very striking and very interesting.
The reason I'm here is because I have a fascination with psychedelic substances, and my own healing has taken place over the period of the last sort of 5 or 10 years through the use of psychedelic substances and through the introduction to understanding shamanism and the techniques used within shamanism. So it's transformed my life, made me a much happier human being, and better able to integrate and to bring that healing to others as well, which has been part of my journey.
I've been understanding a bit better what is happening about the Santodaime in England, which I've been rather concerned about, because I've heard that people have been arrested, and now I've heard people feeling a little bit more hopeful. That made me quite happy.
There's a lot of people that are probably in their homes feeling very like I'm just the only one, and it's conferences like this bring you together. You get to meet like-minded people, and you get to see, open your own horizon with your own experiences, basically. So it's helped me with some of the personal experiences that I've been going through, knowing that other people share similar experiences. So that's one thing I've learned, outside of a lot of the academic stuff that I've picked up as well.
What brings me here is that for 40 years, and that is not an overstatement, I've been interested. I had the instinct that mind-altering substances would help me psychologically, and but every time I had the impulse to do it, that substance would be made illegal. And I always promised myself I don't want to do anything that's going to harm myself. I want to find somebody who knows about these things, who I have a rapport with, who has a substance that's going to be right for me, of the purity and dosage that I need. And I tried for years, in and out of wanting to do these things. And because of their illegality, and because I'm a good girl, I never did anything. And I bought into the kind of lies about these substances. So about 3 years ago, after going to a conference in Switzerland, in Basel, I finally talked to somebody who said, you have the language, the psychological language, you've done enough work on yourself, and so you're equipped to handle this on your own. And I did. And that was about 3 years ago. And it was, I think, the single most, and I'm somebody who's had a lot of help in my life, it's the single most helpful experience I've ever had. And we just had this tsunami, and we have all these people who can't take their place in society because they've been traumatized through, whatever terrible thing, through war or whatever. And I think that this is an amazing, amazing tool to help people to heal.
Which substance is it you're talking about?
MDMA. And I think it's really important to distinguish between MDMA and ecstasy. This was a big discussion yesterday. Ecstasy is something that people take for entertainment, and nobody knows what's in it. I cannot say what was in my MDMA, but I know how I took it, which was on a bed with earplugs, eye mask, face, whatever it is, mask, a friend who I knew and trust in the other room who would be there if I needed to talk. And I lay there and I've been doing meditation since I'm 17 years old. I went deeper in myself than I've ever gone. And I think that that therapy is wonderful, but you're always going through the lens and the unconscious prejudice of another person. And you have the fear of wanting to be accepted by that person. So you might tell them things in a way so that they're going to find you acceptable. And to heal the relationship that you have with your own self, because one of the crazy paradoxical side effects of trauma is self-hatred. Guilt, shame, and self-hatred. It's so commonplace, and yet it's so crazy. So it's just a tremendous healing experience.
I think that psychedelics has played a huge part in human history, and that is important for our evolution, that we try to explore these states of consciousness because they point us to our connectedness. And I think our ways in which we model society, how we act towards each other, it's just, we all notice if people are not really happy, most people are poor, there's war, we are destroying our own planet. It's not really sensible, and I think we could have so much more if we live from our imagination and from love, and we all have a better world. So I really love that people are coming together here and doing this.